Hello and welcome back to Will's Word Reviews and More. Just thought I'd give my quick Raw reaction. I know I don't do many of Raw reactions, but I always do the big ones. So I know I did Divas Revolution and Sting being on Raw for the first time. So I thought I'd just give my thoughts on last night. Obviously a very big episode and Roman eventually winning the title. And yeah, I'm pleased. I have to say, I think he's worked hard. I think it's been a little bit unfair, some of the criticism he's got. I mean, I can understand people being a bit wary, but I think he's really proved them wrong. And he's got a lot of credibility. Yes, alright, he's not an indie superstar like Seth Rollins. Hasn't got as over as Dean Ambrose, but, like I said in my previous video of TLC, I'm really happy with each member of the Shield. They're my favourite three guys on the roster, and they've had a really good year. They've held all major singles titles between them. Seth Rollins has had the WWE title, obviously, Money in the Bank, a United States Championship as well. Dean Ambrose held the United States in the Shield. Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins held the tag titles in the Shield. Dean Ambrose is now Intercontinental Champion. Roman Reigns has won the WWE title. He's also headline WrestleMania and won the Royal Rumble. Basically these guys have won everything there is to win in WWE this year and in the Shield. And that's where they should have been, and that's what I'm happy with. Would I have been less happy with Roman winning the WWE title if Ambrose hadn't won the Intercontinental title? Yes, probably, because Ambrose, I think deserves a bit more. But I'm happy with that. Like he said himself, he's the hard worker of the roster, going to bring it back to that heritage. And so I think it was well worth it. Putting the title on Reigns at this time because everybody knew it was coming. It was decent to have Vince McMahon there. Haven't seen him for ages. Obviously there is a feud now building between Triple H and Roman Reigns for WrestleMania. And obviously this means that we won't be having a repeat of Roman Reigns winning the Royal Rumble, which is what everyone really wanted, so it made sense to do it. Unless he loses the title between now and January the 24th, or whatever it is, it's unlikely. I think they're going to keep the belt on him for now, build up his stable with Dean Ambrose and the Usos, and I think it was the right decision. I think it's the right decision to do it now, and it means that someone else will have that opportunity to win the Royal Rumble, probably Dean Ambrose. That would be really cool to see those two headline WrestleMania. Obviously, we're not sure when Rollins is coming back, probably SummerSlam time, so to have a Roman versus Dean main event at WrestleMania, that should be very interesting indeed, and I think that's probably where they're going to go. Speaking of Ambrose, it looks like he's probably going to continue his feud with Owens and possibly Ziggler, and you'd think that if he's going to win the Royal Rumble, he'd probably drop the title to one of them earlier on the card and then go on to win the Rumble. What else happened on Raw? Not much. These were the big things, really. And yeah, like I said, I was quite pleased, really, and I can't really complain. At the outcome, I think it was the right decision, and I'm happy for Roman. He's worked hard to win over the fans, and he's not going to win over everybody, but nobody ever really does, So, interesting stuff. Good to see where they're going. Hopefully it'll build Raw's ratings up, and yeah, that's about it, guys. Just wanted to give my thoughts on that. Roman Empire, good on him.